Today we're going to be painting Bixie from the board game Aristeia. Before we get started painting, Aristeia is a board game set in the Infinity universe. It has many different characters called Aristos, and every one of them is very different with their own abilities, strengths and weaknesses. Today we're going to be looking at Bixie. Many of the Aristos have a concept based on modern popular culture, and Bixie is kind of like the characters from Attack on Titan in the fact that she has this harpoon gun that she uses to fire at enemies and also use for traveling around the arena very quickly. I began by priming the model grey and then adding a green as a base coat across the whole model. Once the base coat was complete, I then covered the whole model in a black shade and left it to dry. Bixie has a lot of gold trim on her armor, so I had the choice of either doing this in true metallic metal using metallic paints, or I could try and do a simple non-metallic metal using flat colors. I decided to keep it with the flat colors, even though some of my Aristos do actually use true metallic metal. Usually when I do non-metallic gold, I start with a very dark brown, but I didn't want a very heavy contrast gold here. I feel like her metallic trim is very light, so I started off with a light brown. Most of Bixie's model is covered in armor, but there are areas that have some cloth underneath, and all of these I painted black. With all of my base colors down, it was time to start work on the face. With skin, I always start with the darkest tone first. Then I work on the eyes. I start from the inside of the eye and I pull out to try and just cover the eyes area. I then flip the model upside down to be able to do the same thing on the other side. It's really important to be able to hold the model with as many contact points as possible, as it helps it keep it still. At least you feel in control of all the movements and allows you to place your brush much more carefully. The next part of the eyes that I'm doing is the pupil. To do the pupil, I've got black on my brush, and as I approach the face, I stroke up and down to help me pinpoint the exact spot I need for the iris. Now it doesn't matter if I go over a little bit or I stretch down too far or I muck up around the skin, because I can always go back and correct that. With the skin's midtones and highlight colors prepared on my wet palette, I then go about trying to add all of the areas where the skin is getting lighter and lighter. Starting off with the midtones, I hit a lot of the face with the midtone colors. Once they're all down, I then go up to my next highlight and I start making that area that I highlight much smaller in the areas that really get hit by light. Finally, I have a very light skin tone for the final highlight that touches only on small points of the face where I'm expecting the light to hit. With the face complete, it was time to go over the armor and do all the highlights on there as well. So I took a yellow-green and I thinned it down so that I could just build up layers so it would blend from the original green up to the yellow-green across the whole armor. I then started adding lighter and lighter tones of grey to all of the black areas of the model. It was now time to continue the gold trim on the model. So because we're doing the non-metallic metal approach with this gold, I started off with some orange browns and worked those up to white on my wet palette. Once they were all ready, I then started layering them onto the gold trim, a little bit like we did with the face and the skin tones, and it gave a bit of a gold quality. It's much lighter than my usual NMM gold, but I really liked how this contrasted with the darker green. The last part I needed to do for the model was the hair. Bixie's hair is brown, so I started off with a very dark brown across the whole of the hair, and then I just put in one lighter brown as well, just for a small highlight. Kept it at that. When I started doing the base, I put down the base coat, but I noticed there was quite big cracks where the model had been inserted into the base. So I put down some Tamiya putty just to smooth out some of those holes, making sure that none of that would show through when I finished the base. Once the putty was dry, I base coated everything in a light brown. I then prepared some crackle paint for the base because I wanted to get a desert effect. However, I didn't want a desert color. I wanted something a little alien, a little bit weird. So I mixed in some blue as well, about 50-50 proportion of each of the paints. Once that was all mixed, I tried to get as much of the paint onto the base as I could, because the more you get on there, the larger the cracks you get. It was then just a case of letting it dry and hope that the cracks would come out. The cracks didn't come out as strongly as I wanted, and it may be a case of how the paint that I used to mix with the crackle paint didn't quite react the way that I wanted. However, it was enough for now. So finally, to finish off, I just went around the rim of the base with the light brown. And with the base done, we've finished Bixie. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe and leave a comment down below in the comment section. So until next time, bye bye.